There's a very peculiar thing that we read about in this week's Torah portion. That is the Ketores, the incense. Hashem tells the Jewish people that in order to, so to speak, bring Hashem back to a better mood, so to speak, whenever there is some issue, just bring the incense and things are solved. If you would ask any, nowadays we don't have real Kabbalists like they used to have, but if there would be Kabbalists around today like they used to be, Corona, no problem. We'll just do some kind of incense and then we'll get rid of this issue. The question though is, what is it about this incense? What does it really mean? And how could we replicate it for ourselves when we have some of our own inner challenges and issues, and what to bring Hashem's good grace to us when we want to bring brachas from Hashem. So before we get to the Ketores specifically, let's talk a little bit about scent in general in Judaism and how scent affects people. The truth is that scent is a very unique thing and how deeply it affects us. They did this study. They took these 20 college students and they put them in two different rooms. In one room, just random kids just went to on the campus, put 10 kids in the one room thing. It's not another room, just random kids. And in one room, they put a little bit of floor cleaner. They put some there's a light scent of washed floors in one room, and another room there wasn't. And they served some cookies. And they had these cameras to observe them eating the cookies. Now they noticed was that everybody who was in the room with the scent of the washed floors, they're very careful how they eat the cookies, make sure there's no crumbs, and they cleaned up. And in the other room, they ate the cookies and they left a mess. And that was one difference. The second difference is they asked everyone who was there to write down a piece of paper what their plans are for the day. So everyone who was in the room with the floor cleaner scent, they all said the different things they want to do about cleaning. I want to clean my clothes. I want to clean my garage. Everyone was thinking about cleaning. And in the other room, everyone was like, whatever. No one mentioned anything about cleaning. Just like, what are you going to do today? I'm going to read a book. I'm going to go nothing. So scent is something which really affects. You can't you can't ignore scent. Scent reaches you. And also regarding our memories to different things. Scent is something which triggers very deep memories. When you think about people in your life, you think about, and if you smell something that reminds you of something, it brings you totally back to that moment in a very strong way. You smell the same knedlach that your bubby used to make, it brings you there. You smell the cookies, it brings you there. There are different explanations about why scent is so powerful. We know in the Torah, God forbid, people who've gone to ashrams and different temples around the world to try out different religions, which what do they do to make the people like to get involved in this ashram? What do? They have this very strong scent in this ashram to try to get people to want to leave the world and to be in some other zone. They don't do this on purpose in jail, but I just know myself. Every time I went to jail, I used to visit people in jail. The hardest thing for me was the scent. And the jail had a certain scent, a very strong scent, and you weren't just physically in the jail and behind 100 locks. Also, you were stifled by this scent of the jail. Anyways, so on the other hand, we have after Shabbos. What do we do after Shabbos? It says that the neshama is a little bit upset about going back to the daily grind. Neshama wants to stay with Shabbos stick, doesn't want to lose the Shabbos. What do we do to revive the neshama? So we light the candles because that's when fire was created on Saturday night. We also smell the psamim. Why do we smell the psamim? Because the neshama specifically has a relationship to scent. The neshama is affected by the scent. To revive the neshama, to keep the neshama animated, to bring the neshama to be where it's supposed to be, we give the neshama a scent. So the Gemara actually has a question: how do we know that we make a bracha on psamim? How do we know we make a bracha on spices? So Gemara says, there's a pasuk, fascinating pasuk. Gemara says, the last pasuk in Tehillim, it says, Kol neshama taluka, all souls should praise Hashem. So the Gemara says, this pasuk proves we have to say a bracha for scent. How does that pasuk prove it? Because something that only the neshama enjoys, not the body, the thing the neshama, only the neshama enjoys is a scent. Since only the neshama enjoys it, so the fact that Torah says the neshama should praise Hashem, that must mean that we're saying a bracha for something the neshama enjoys. And what does the neshama enjoy? The neshama enjoys a good scent. Therefore, we make a bracha when we smell something that smells good. It's also scientifically, psychologically, unlike other senses, there's a little bit of a filter between our feelings and our mind. But our scent goes directly from the nostrils directly to the brain, and psychologists, whatever they're called, their research has discovered that the place in the brain where the scent goes to is there something that doesn't smell good?
No.
Anyway, so the place in the brain where the scent reaches is the place which triggers memories. So that's what they've discovered. That's actually why there's a direct and deep impact from scent because it's connected to the brain. There's also the Gemara, when the Gemara wants to describe what a kala is, the Gemara says that the Gemara wants to describe Yerushalayim rather. And the Gemara says Yerushalayim is such a wonderful place that there's such a good scent from the ketores, from the incense that was brought for Hashem, such a great scent that no kala had to put on any perfume because of the scent of the incense. The scent of the incense was so powerful, such a great aroma that no kala had to put on any perfume. So, but it's also interesting for the Gemara says that kala is not to put on perfume. Why do kalas put on perfume? I was just thinking, there are two people. The goal of the marriage is to bring ava, to bring love. The word ava is numerically equivalent to oneness. What connects the chas and the kala? The kala's aroma, the kala's perfume, the kala's scent causes an immediate connection between the chas and the kala. There's that connection. It brings a closeness. That's only on just a scientific, psychological, whatever. But also we all are affected by this. You go into a store and you go to the mall and you want to leave the mall, but you don't leave the mall. Why don't you leave the mall? Because you walked in and you're hypnotized by the scent, and you open your wallet and you start spending because you're in it just has that great aroma. Sometimes how it works better on women than it does on men. Men are okay leaving the store a little faster. At least I am. Anyway, so there's a scent in this. That's what they've discovered, that it helps people want to stay in their stores. They make a really great aroma in the store, and the people are connected with that and they want to stay in the store. The Torah also talks about the power of why scent is stronger than the other senses, why it's connected to the neshama. It's amazing teaching from the Bnei Yissaschar. Bnei Yissaschar was a Pelish Tzaddik, Shomer Sachar of Dinov. He said like this: when Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, Torah says she saw the tree, she told her husband about the tree, and she saw it was really good, and she tasted from it. So he says that all of the senses except for scent are mentioned, because when she ate from the tree of knowledge, she caused something negative to happen to all of her senses except for scent. So that's why the ability to smell is directly associated with the neshama, and that's why the neshama specifically is able to benefit from the aroma of the psamim on Motzei Shabbos. And neshama is a connection to the scent because our power of smell never was contaminated. In other words, our power of smell is the same as our power of smell as it was before the sin, and therefore it goes directly to the soul. That's what the Bnei Yissaschar says. But all of these explanations don't really begin to address Hashem's favor to the scent of the ketores. What's so good about the scent of the ketores, of the incense? That's why we're affected by scent. Why is Hashem affected by the scent of the incense? What does the scent of the incense do for Hashem? And we says clearly in the Torah, why Hashem loved the Jewish people, He blesses the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu, before he passes away, he says, Yosim Kotera B'Pecha. It's because we put the fragrance of the scent in your nostrils, in Hashem's nostrils. Because we Yosim Kotera B'Pecha, because of the ketores, it does something for Hashem. Later on, we're going to read about Korach. After Korach rebelled against Moshe Rabbeinu, so there was an argument after Korach rebels, and it seems like pretty obvious that it was a bad move. It gets swallowed up in the ground. What happens next? Everyone says, Moshe Rabbeinu, you killed them. It was your fault. So a plague starts. And God tells Moshe Rabbeinu, tells Aaron to stop the plague. How should he stop the plague? He brings the ketores. He brings the incense. How did he know that the incense would stop the plague? He knew this because when Moshe Rabbeinu went to get the Torah on Har Sinai, so all the angels were very impressed with Moshe Rabbeinu. At first they weren't so into human beings getting the Torah, but after Moshe spoke to them, they were all very, very convinced, and they were all very excited about Moshe Rabbeinu. And they all gave him gifts. He also got a gift from the angel of death. What was the gift of the angel of death? So the angel of death gave Moshe Rabbeinu the secret how to stop the angel of death. How do you stop the angel of death? With the ketores, with the incense. So the question is, though, what is it about the incense? Why is the incense so powerful that it brings Hashem's good favor and kindness and rachamim and changes and stops this, it stops the pandemic, the time of Moshe Rabbeinu? What is it in the ketores? What is it? What's about? What is it? What does it have? So there is an explanation of the student of the Rashba who says that what's special about the fragrance of the ketores is not the fragrance. He says, you know what? It's not the fragrance of the ketores. It's when you bring the ketores. What happened is like this. Ordinarily, in a regular day in the Beis Hamikdash, regular day in the temple, what happened was like this. There was two altars. There's an outer altar and there's an inner altar. A kohen would come in, you take fire from the outer altar, you bring it to the inner altar, and you would offer, take the incense and put it on the fire, and there would be this cloud. On Yom Kippur, the kohen gadol would take the fire from the inner altar, and he would go into the Holy of Holies, and he would there bring the incense to Hashem. So this explanation says that it wasn't the incense; it was the cloud. It was just a cloud. The cloud is a place, we say on the Friday night in our davening, that Hashem appears to us in a cloud, appears to Moshe in a cloud, and that's what all the good Jewish comic strips always use to describe Hashem. There's always a cloud, God speaking. So it's not the ketores per se; it's the cloud. It doesn't really, and the cloud means the Shekhinah, God's presence, but that doesn't really answer the question, because it leaves us still wanting. Because think about the various spices that they used. There was this family called Ben Aftinas, the only family that knew how to make this spice. No one else knew how to do it. It was in their family tradition. No one else knew how to do it. And the spices that were used were from all over the world. They used these very unique spices. And so you didn't if it was just about the cloud, so you don't need to have these specific spices. If it was just about a cloud that has to stop a plague, there must be something else that's there in the ingredients of these spices that does this. After the high priest would offer this to Hashem in the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies, on Yom Kippur, which you have the holiest person, the holiest place, and the holiest time, he would say a short prayer. A short prayer was that the Jewish people should always have the king of Yehuda, we should always have a king. The prayer of those, there should be rain, and Hashem shouldn't listen to those who are traveling and don't want it to rain, and no woman should lose her child. Very short prayer, very intimate, very powerful prayer. And when did he say this prayer? At a time of divine grace, after he offered the incense. The question is, but what is it about the incense? What does it have? So there is explanation in Maimonides. Maimonides says, and all the commentaries attack Maimonides. Maimonides says like this. Think about it. The temple. What was the temple? The temple was a slaughterhouse. All these animals were slaughtered every day. It smelled terribly. There's the smell of the blood, the smell of the animals. So in order to fix the smell of the temple, they brought the ketores so it should smell okay. That's what the Rambam says. But many commentaries say that the Rambam writes, he made a book called The Guide to the Perplexed. So he's not really trying to address the inner meaning of what the ketores is really about. He's just trying to address the perplexed people, to give them an answer that will satisfy them. He's not telling us the real, deeper meaning of it. So it could be that accomplish that too. That's not the deeper, real reason behind the ketores, even according to them. We're just saying this for the perplexed. That's what some say. So there's explanation of the Mittler Rebbe. The Mittler Rebbe says like this. The Rebbe says that when someone faints, you use spices to revive them. So spice has the ability to touch the very core of the soul. In a similar way, the spices were unique in that they had 11 spices. One of the spices was called chelbana. Chelbana smelled horribly, and then one actually learns out from this that in order for Jewish people, whenever they pray together, they have to have Rishayim there. You can't just pray with tzaddikim. Hashem does not accept the prayers only of the tzaddikim. You have to have Rishayim. It doesn't qualify. In fact, the Hebrew word for community is tzibur. What tzibur mean? Tzibur is an acronym for tzaddikim, beinanim, Rishayim. You have to have the righteous, you have to have the average people, you have to have the Rishayim. Just like in this incense, you have to have 11 spices. And not only that, the one that smelled the worst was 40% of the whole thing. And the main component of these spices was the chelbana. What's the meaning of the chelbana? The meaning of the chelbana is that Hashem says, take something which doesn't smell good. It's one word. There's a lot of background and information. Bottom line, what's unique about this, the Keteris? It's the surprise. Hashem puts a Jew in the world, he wants to get a surprise. He wants to get something, he wants us to surprise him. What was the first Jewish boy that was born? What was his name? Yitzchak. What's Yitzchak mean? It means to laugh. Imagine naming your kid laughter. Everyone laughs at you because you're just a funny kid. It doesn't do so well for the kid's self-esteem necessarily, right? So why does our concern name their child Yitzchak? Because what's unique about a Jew, what a Jew is here in the world is, so to speak, to surprise Hashem, to give Hashem something that he didn't expect. What does Hashem have? What doesn't Hashem have that we can give him? He doesn't have evil. Hashem doesn't have. Hashem is only good, and we deal with evil, and we're able in our lives to let go of negative things, to stop what we doing for things that we want to do, and to do things we don't want to do, even though we have attraction to the wrong thing. That we're able to rise above our nature, rise above the negative energy inside ourselves, and to make something beautiful out of something ugly. So that's the power of the Keteris. It was something that was ordinary spices, dry spices, and yet this beautiful aroma emerged from these spices. And that the message is, what Hashem is telling us is, in order to create this time of divine grace and mercy, it's not by becoming a tzaddik. It's, on the contrary, it's by dealing with very simple, hard issues for you that are hard for you because you're a human being and you have, and you deal with everyone deals with different, negative things, and yet to make something beautiful out of that, and turning around and to make something amazing out of that. Thinking of this incredible story, you may have seen it. There was a video by the Chabad conference of Shluchas. I think it was 2 years ago. There was a shlucha to Venice. I forgot her name. She said she came to her Chabad center on Yom Kippur. They had the synagogue in one place, and they had their offices in another place. And the office was like an open place. Anyone can go there and hang out. And this Israeli backpacker is inside the office, and she's on the computer checking her email. So, and it was open. The Jews were allowed to go in there, but not in Yom Kippur, So, and she's there, and she says to this girl, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm so and so." The girl's like, "Nice to meet you too," and she's busy on checking her email. And she says, "You want to come with me to the synagogue?" She says, "Oh, what's happening in the synagogue?" You guys no idea it's Yom Kippur. So she says, "Well, we're going to have a meal there soon." "Oh, really? It's a meal? Okay, I'll come with you." And she realized this girl has no idea what's going on. And she also realized, this very, very thoughtful person, that as soon as she discovers that it is Yom Kippur, she's going to be really upset. So she says so the girl asks, "Why is there a meal today? What's today?" And she responds, "Today is the best day for me, you, and I to meet. Today is Yom Kippur." It's Yom Kippur. Like, even the Israelis who are not religious, everyone knows Yom Kippur. In Israel, Yom Kippur is like the shtetl used to be in Europe on the Shabbos. The whole town was Shabbos. Israel, it's like Yom Kippur. It's the whole town. It's Yom Kippur. Like some of Israel. So anyway, so she felt really bad, and she said to her, "Listen, it's the end of Yom Kippur, and now it's the highest point of Yom Kippur. It's the best time for you to daven now. You could daven now, and it's really be heard and really make an impact." So what did this woman do? She started davening to the Eibush like she never davened before. She turned to the Eibush, and what this shlucha had done, she'd taken this negative energy of what did I do wrong, and she transformed it to being like, I have a chance to talk to Hashem. And that's really why we bring the incense on Yom Kippur, the special incense brought on Yom Kippur. When a person comes to Hashem Yom Kippur and he's like, how can I do tshuva? I did this, what am I supposed to start? And the Eibush says, what are you talking about? The Eibush is not surprised by evil. The Eibush knows about evil. The Eibush is surprised by the guy who's still on the floor, and he says, I need to fix this, I need to change this, I want something different. So this is the power of the Keteris. The power of the Keteris is that a Jew is able to turn whatever negativity is in their life and to make a strong decision, make a strong resolve, and to do what Hashem wants to do, to create something, to bring light and joy and happiness and to Hashem in a situation which doesn't have that. I'll tell you one more story and let you guys go. Even though I know all of you heard the story before, but I have to tell you this story. It's just such a good story. There was a bubby, and this bubby always loved giving gifts to her new. Oh, maybe I shouldn't tell you that story. This Bobby would always give gifts to the new granddaughter-in-law that joined the family, and the gift was she would buy them all a beautiful diamond bracelet. And sure enough, the youngest granddaughter is getting married, and of course she tells her, "I have this thing. I give everybody a beautiful diamond bracelet. Go pick out a bracelet." And she picks out this beautiful diamond bracelet, and it's really amazing. Everyone looks at the diamond bracelet. Wow, it's amazing. And the next morning she wakes up. She doesn't know where it is. And it's terrible. Where is it? It's a diamond bracelet. And everyone in the family, because she lost it, she's terrible, she doesn't know what she's doing, and everyone makes fun of her. I don't know if they made fun of her openly or they spoke under their breath, but she felt the negative energy. The only one, So about 6 months later, her husband and her are watching their wedding video. And the husband says, let's put on our wedding clothes, whatever. So he puts on his kapata from the wedding, and it's, the bracelet. And she's so angry at him. She says, all this embarrassment, all this, she goes, all because of you. It's all because of you. Look what you did. I'm so sorry. He gets, going on hand and knees. I'm so sorry. You're right. Anyways, 2 decades pass, and she wants to change her bracelet for something else. There was, I think, one of her children was getting married, and she wants to change the bracelet. For whatever reason, she wants to change the bracelet, and she goes to the place where the bracelet was bought. And the guy's like, "I can't sell you this bracelet. It's not from our store." "What is not from the store? This is the bracelet." And she goes home, and she goes to that jewelry box, and she goes to that, and she sees that the receipt for the jewelry was 6 months after their wedding. Her husband had somehow managed to borrow and scratch and beg and somehow to manage to get the money together to get her that bracelet so that she shouldn't have his embarrassment of not having the bracelet. And of course, he didn't want to tell her what he had done. And so that's I think that's a really a good example of there's a situation and it's negative and Hashem's throwing you a ball. You could do something here. And when you do that, when you take something, you take a scenario and you think, how can I fix this? What can I do? It really makes an impact. Last thing. This is a beautiful thing. I just learned this today, and I have to share this with you. I learned this today. Unbelievable. You have to read Tehillim, by the way. Everyone reads Tehillim. You have to read what it means. Unbelievable. I've been Tehillim my whole life. I'm just now discovering how amazing Tehillim is. It's a pasuk. We read today's Tehillim. Today's Tehillim, chapter 40, it says, Ashrei maskel odol, v'yem nura yotei avai. How fortunate is someone who's thoughtful about the poor. On the day of trouble, God will save them. So the simple meaning is, if you think about people who are in trouble, so God will take care of you too. You think about someone who's in trouble, you think about people, as the Rebbe Rashab said, it's like a mitzvah. It's like a mitzvah's aseh. To spend 15 minutes to think about what other people need. That's what Rebbe Rashab said. It's equivalent to a mitzvah every day. Just like Shabbos camels, then you have to daven. It's a mitzvah every day to think for 15 minutes how to help other people. So, Metzudas David says, if you think about other people, so Hashem will help you. That's what he says. The Chidah says something unbelievable. He says, Ashri maskil odol b'imra. How fortunate is someone who thinks about the poor on a day of trouble. When it's a day of trouble for you, and you're having a hard day. And therefore there's no room in your heart and brain for anybody else because you're having a hard day yourself. So you're not going to think about anybody else. You can't. You're overwhelmed. Ashri maskil, he puts a comma 2 words later. How fortunate is someone who thinks about people in need on when it's a hard day for them. Because if you do that the Eibusher doesn't remain unmoved by that. The Eibusher is touched by that. If he thinks of another person and how to help them, even though they have their own sorrows themselves, the Eibusher has to respond. So, and he says the words maskil, to think about the person and how to give them in a way that they'll feel respected. They won't, you can give someone the same thing in a way, but give them in a way that they'll appreciate it, in a way that they won't get insulted. And then the Eibusher says, you're having all this going on in your life, all these things are hard for you, and you're still showing up. That's Ketores. That makes a difference. L'chaim. Should bring the Ketores, the Eibusher, and Beis Hamikdash, Shalim HaKodesh, and if Chas Shalom delays, we should bring the other Ketores that we could bring into our homes, our families, everyone their way. We could all do this. L'chaim.